Welcome to another episode of Nappy Changing and Brand Building. Today, I am delighted to be joined by Ruby Ruat, the CEO and founder of WUKA. They are the sustainable, reusable period wear brand that's disrupting the marketplace and using its voice to raise awareness of period shame and period poverty. Hi, Ruby.
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. I love the podcast name, Nappy Changing and Brand Building. I mean, that's perfect. While you're changing the nappy, you can think about the brand, come up with business idea, and that's literally what you did, right? So
that was really how I got started. Was I was changing my baby's nappies. I'd love to know a little bit actually about how you got started with WUKA and what WUKA's big mission and sustainability is.
WUKA stands for Wake Up, Kick Ass. Purely born out of, I think, passion for sustainability. Lived sustainable lifestyle growing up in Nepal. It was for the first time when I came to UK. Actually, I had I think maybe food from a plastic jar, like ketchup or mayonnaise kind of thing. So it was very new to me, very culture shock. Then I went to do environmental science through Open University, and that was like the opening eyes for me. Like pretty much everything you go to supermarket has got plastic in them. You know, from like the beauty product, the scrubs that you use that has got plastic inside it, to a cucumber even wrapped in plastic. You know, like I started going and teaching kids about sustainability and mostly food waste all around St. Albans. Nearly taught 4,000 kids in 1 year about like why food waste is bad for the environment and health and for all sorts of reasons. And the project was really successful. I think over 60%, every school, 60% reduction in food waste. So that was like, every teacher went like, wow, this is great. Like, could you do other sustainability programs as well? And I got invited by like Women's Environmental Network to talk about menstruation and menstrual products that are available in the market that are sustainable and eco-friendly, just choices. And it was there where I think I was telling them my story of growing up in Nepal. 12, I had my first period. My mom gave me an old sari stacked in like a bundle, and she said me that these are your menstrual products for the rest of your life. Then I think the whole period journey became more worse. First period, she also told me that I can't stay at home, so I went to my aunt's house. Was treated absolutely awful, not by my aunt, I would say, but like the culture in the society that they pressurize everybody to do and follow things in a certain way. Cups and bowls separated, often passed to the floor, the food. The 8 days was like absolutely a nightmare for me. Came home and I said like, Mom, I'm never gonna do this. But that was just the beginning, honestly. Like I think periods were much harder once we started going to school and having periods, not having toilet to change, no water. I mean, we had a public toilet, everybody sat and squat and had a wee, so everybody knew that you were on your period. So that really deterred me from like going to school on your period. And then obviously then the other association of like pain and everything came. So I was telling people my story in school about like, and at that time we used this cloth pad, you know, you just put it in between your underwear and wear it and then go about by your day, super sustainable. But then everybody looked at me like, what? You want us to wear that kind of way? You know, like, so aesthetically, it was definitely not a good looking product. And when you have a shiny box of tampons and pads, and then a homemade pad lying next to it, they'll obviously go like, oh, I'm going to go for that one, you know, regardless of what it is.
They've grown up knowing those products on the shelf in the supermarket, in their own bathrooms at home. It's what their mother uses. And yeah, they're used to the tampons and the stick-on sanitary wear. They hadn't, we wouldn't have considered something reusable or something that you might wash.
Yeah. So basically, then I literally on my way home, I thought, okay, there's definitely a better way to present the eco-friendly choices in a different way. So I remember like growing up, at times in school, I used to sometimes pin the pad in the pants or wear multi-layer of underwear, you know, like anything to secure it so that it's like your one piece kind of way. So went to secondhand sewing machine, put it on YouTube, learn how to thread and sew a pattern of an underwear. And I basically started taking all my underwear from the drawer, cutting it, slitting on the half, inserting fabrics in between and restitching it again. So I did 4 underwear like that. first, then trial it out for maybe 3 months. And what was the beautiful part was like every time I used to always look forward to periods. And you still ask our WUKA community, and they say like, "Oh, I just got my WUKA. I'm so excited to have my periods." Like you never hear this kind of statement ever, in life.
You really want to
So
buy them out.
yeah, so it was literally like that, kind of a relief more than anything else. You don't have to stick anything in between your underwear. You just wear pants. Even an 8-year-old who just started the period, they know exactly how to wear an underwear, right? So I think the whole thing was like so much like stress-free, no drama kind of situation. And then I thought, okay, this is a brilliant idea. Obviously, it's in my mind that it's a brilliant idea. Then my husband goes like, "What? Obviously everybody loves the idea, so you need to find out like if other people loves your idea." So I went to Facebook as a pretended research student, and I said like, "Look, I'm doing a research on period product, what people use now, and are you finding it comfortable?" Then within 24 hours the floodgate opened, honestly. Like I think 500 responses. Everybody's like almost like crying for help because 70% of the people felt that it was uncomfortable. They had chafing issue, that it was smelling. Most of the I think pad company were selling the perfumated pad, and it just made it worse. Chemicals in the pads and tampons, everything, all the worry under the sun. And it just shows, like
and
in the last.
You don't really want to put plastic and chemicals either inside you or even against your skin. Like we always say, you wouldn't want to wrap yourself up in plastic. It's not good for your skin. It's uncomfortable. It can cause rash. It can cause irritation. It's just not pleasant.
Yeah, and then that breathability, right? The smell and all this kind of thing, because the plastic are not breathable. And people, I think, because there are only few giants, right, who sell pads and tampons kind of thing. And they have got money and power and advertisement money. So whatever they say to you, basically people have not questioned much and just used it for decades and decades. So that was just like an eye-opening for me, like, oh my God, people want to talk about period, but then I don't see anywhere people talking about period. Why is it like still a taboo? So made 30 pair of underwear. We went to last a standing lingerie manufacturer who makes lingerie for Asian provocateur. So very sexy lingerie, like, and I go there with the most ugly looking granny underwear, like, can you make me some of these big pants, right?
Some good big pants.
They look at me like, you sure you want that? I was like, yeah, 100% sure. So 3 days spent with them, great time. Came back and I went to Facebook, and your co-founder was one of the first trial to say like, yes, I would like to try.
Right up and said, I'll try these. I think Jenny at the time was very much on her early eco-sustainability journey. She was trying out all the new products, whether it was period wear, whether it was home cleaning products. She was right in there at just the right time that you were starting up WUKA.
Yeah, and sent her on Facebook. She comes next day, and I had like few other women as well come to the house. I mean, completely strange for me, who just moved from like I think Nepal, for somebody to come to a house stripped naked and try underwear. That was like a bit of like, okay, is this legal and am I doing the right thing, in here? But then we went with the flow. After a month, I started getting like raving reviews about like the most important, like the product was working, right? So, and then we tweaked and changed on the style. 2017, we went on Kickstarter, raised £7,000. We are now in multi-million in revenue as a company in the last 5 years. So yeah, it's been like a steep learning curve. Somebody who's never done any business, like I was telling my husband, like my first meeting was ever meeting, like proper meeting in life was when my husband left his job and joined me. And then we were like 3 people in a room, and we said like, let's do our first meeting, like ever kind of way. So it was like okay. Then you're hiring people. I was like, now everybody sees you as a CEO. It's like, okay, how does that work? Like learnings and all this kind of thing. So it's been an incredible journey though.
Yeah, your status suddenly completely changes in everybody else's eyes, and quite rightly so, because WUKA has grown immensely into quite a disruptor, well recognized, well accredited brand. I mean, I know Jenny was one of your early ones that came along. She convinced me to try WUKA knickers, and I've got to say, I absolutely love them. No wonder your brand has grown so well. They're comfortable, they don't squeeze at your thighs, they work brilliantly. And actually, they reduce all the stress of having to carry around period products, as well as being more sustainable and quite easy to wash. And I think I've had mine now for 3 or 4 years, and they stand up to the test of time. They're so well made, so it doesn't surprise me at all that your company and your brand has taken off in the way it has.
Yeah.
When in the journey did you decide to take the brand beyond products and start to become an influencer? Because you have quite a strong voice about period shame, period poverty, just talking about periods, bleeding, incontinence. Like, it's quite a strong voice that you're using your platform for.
Yeah. So WUKA stands for Wake Up Kick Ass, and sometimes I feel like, I mean, it's great that actually from outside you see that we do. Sometimes I feel like we're not doing enough of shouting and talking about taboos. So I think very beginning the mission has been like, we create a product that completely replaces the need for disposable tampons and pads, but our ethos main is like to drive that change and behavior change in people. And to do that, sometimes you have to do like outrageous kind of thing that makes people feel like, oh my God, like, why has nobody talked about this kind of thing? It's like fundamental to everyone. Like, I think the first year I found out that period product was like, period pants was not even in the list of like the tax code kind of way. So I went and I said like, look, you got to add this because things are continuously evolving, like innovations is happening. So you have to be up to date with it. But then they came and slammed like 20% VAT on period pants because they look like a regular underwear. And till day, we are like still fighting that thing, like, so it almost became my mission, like, why should women pay the government to even have periods? It's not something that we desire to have it, and then we force it to come out kind of thing. It's like just another bodily function, right? And we get taxed.
It's an absolute necessity. It's not a luxury under any circumstance. And particularly when we're talking about period poverty and hygiene poverty, the fact that some girls are not going to school because they don't have access to good period products, it's kind of horrifying to think that the government still has a 20% tax on that. And it is, that they're making money at a point that some girls are avoiding getting an education because they can't afford period wear.
Yeah. I mean, it's mind-boggling. At the moment, we actually supply to government as a part of period dignity program, because in 2021 they announced £21 million project, but when the tender came out, they said like, oh, we only take disposable tampons and pads, basically not ending period poverty, because you give them, they use it, they throw it away, and you are in this vicious circle of like finding a fund to end period poverty. That there's like nothing sustainability around it. Then Wales, I think, became the first one to say like, actually, we'll only go for sustainable product and reusable product. That's it. We don't take anything else. So they started taking period pants. Now, when we sell it to the government, we have to tax 20%. And had that tax been taken out, we would have reached another 20% more girls. Right?
Yes.
It's just like, I went to even to number 10 Downing Street to tell the Prime Minister like, this doesn't work, like you are trying to fill a leaky bucket with period poverty and just giving tampons and pads. You are punishing sustainable brands and sustainable product and people who want to live a sustainable life with another extra 20% VAT on top of it. No response.
No, I did see you actually managed to put period knickers into Rishi Sunak's hand.
And I said like, well, if you don't believe me, I said like, if you don't believe me, you can give it to your daughters. He's got 2 daughters coming of age. So we did a bit of a research as to like, okay, so hopefully they've got it in hand, and then perhaps like when the daughter started having period, then that conversation might spark again. But we have got too many men in the top level, who don't understand the problem that we are trying to say and address it, and then it just becomes so difficult. They never go to I think they don't never go to like period product aisle ever in their life, right? So they don't see that actually we sit next to tampons and pads, and why is one product in that same shelf taxed at 0%, and why is like
yeah, it doesn't make sense. But like you say, it's obviously not going to affect 50% of the population ever, really. And yet we should all know about it. We should all be aware, in the same way that women are aware of premature ejaculation or prostate cancer. It's not going to, it's not our problem, but that doesn't mean we can turn a blind eye to it and not be aware of the solutions that are on the shelf.
Yeah, we coexist, right, men and women. So this is the thing.
For every wife, mother, daughter, this is an issue.
Yeah, grandmother, niece. I mean, like you think about any like person who has got period in life, right? So it is a problem for them. And then we cater for like stages of life as well. Like, whether you have your first period to like ongoing period to postpartum bleeding to perimenopause to later on incontinence, like WUKA is there on every stage of your life. So
yeah. And I think, obviously we're in the nappy business, so we have a lot of contact with ladies that have just given birth, and we do hear from them a lot about postpartum bleeding, the fact that they cannot keep tampons in for a period of time.
I think when we opened the postpartum bleeding Pandora's box last year, it was quite surprising that quite a lot of new moms who were getting pregnant for the first time actually did not know that they will bleed after having birth as well. So again, this like mind blowing, like I think we get like one period education, 35 minutes, and you have a period for over 40 years. But that 30-minute education is supposed to tell you everything that happens in between that time. Nobody talks about pregnancy, because that is a part of who we are as a woman, kind of way, and completely blind. I mean, so many level. I think we have to go back to like education at school, providing choices for young girls. Not allowing like big companies to start seeding out like pads and tampons the minute that they turn 10, 11 or year old, that should not be like that. Monopoly should not be given, and it should be all about like choices of education around like what is good for them and what is easy for them to use.
The new generation coming through are much more switched on sustainability wise. They are looking for more sustainable, more natural products. I think they're the generation that we should be talking to. And I did notice you do a whole campaign, Tackle Anything, which aims at female sports teams, particularly in their teenage years, which I think is a brilliant campaign, because I think too many girls drop out of sport, particularly around the teen time. And a big section of it is to do with period shame, not being able to play certain days, which is horrifying really when you consider we've got the World Cup winning women's football team.
I know, right? 50%, I think so. 1 in 2 drop out of sports when they reach the puberty and start getting periods, but also like body changes, hormones, all those kind of things. I think in swim, I think 1 in 4 actually don't go to swim anymore after starting the period, or like avoid completely swimming at all because of the leaks kind of thing. We started like looking into women in sport, and then found this like huge data around like, there are like 700,000 inactive women compared to men, kind of way. Like, so what is driving them like to not even do like a basic exercise of like just going for a walk or something like that, like again, and then found out that actually again the root cause lies when you are young. Once you stop giving up the sports, then I did the same thing too. I think 15-year-old, then I gave up sport. Then it was all the way to 22, 23 years old, then I started taking up sport as well. So that was like this massive gap of like so many years. So we thought, okay, how can we help young girls get back into sports? So we did like, I think we did few campaigns, like we did Tackle Anything, we did 21 challenge, like 21 reps of any exercise to do. This was like a quite nice social media buzz that we created. We sponsor local football team, like We sponsor Hertfordshire girls team, Watford football, West Rugby Union, working with Scottish gymnast team. So we are trying to go into different places, perhaps where often once the girls hit the puberty and then they stop doing sports, like, okay, how can we encourage you to continue doing it? And yeah, like we have the World Cup winning team, and yet you can see that consciousness of like that fear and fear of leak more than anything else. Fear of leak in front of the whole public. They changed the whole football shirts into like blue color now from white. We always say like, if you can see a graze and cut blood coming from your body whenever you're playing sports, why can't you see your period leaks? Like, what's the harm in there? Like,
There
it's
is
again
such
ingrained.
a stigma still. I mean, I know UK's not like Nepal, but and yet there is still quite a stigma against any kind of leak or even walking to the bathroom, holding your period, wearing your hand, being spotted. And of course, it all begins during your early teen years where you're at the height of your kind of embarrassment levels. I think by the time you're kind of my age, you've kind of got over it a little bit.
Yes. 30, and I think like you are like,
what anybody.
yeah, fudge everything. I will do what my way kind of way. I think my transformation was also around like 30, and I just like, well, why are we scared? Like, why the pimple is like such a big thing? Like, honestly, like when you are a teenager, you think that you look at a mirror and the only thing that you can see is that little pimple that came out, right? But honestly, like nobody cares about it. Like, and I often go to school.
It's only you. But I can imagine, I can remember being sort of 12, 13, the horror of getting your period at school. And I went to an all-girls school and I was still horribly embarrassed. So I can't imagine what it was like in a mixed school. But yes, and it does continue all the way through your early working life even. There is still a stigma, there's still a shame to it. And it is something we need to tackle because so many of us have periods. It's not unusual. And really kind of getting in with girls to say, stay, do sport, don't be embarrassed about it. Use a product that works and you don't get leaks anyway.
Exactly.
But don't be so embarrassed about it, particularly don't jeopardize your future health by dropping out sport too early.
I know. I think confidence. This is one thing I learned this year. I went to a school teaching about how to start a business. There's like this group of boys and girls coming to learn about like how to start a business, what are the first things that you should do, and they all are studying business. And I mean, out of like 80 people, I think there are maybe 71 boys and then maybe 9 girls. Obviously, there's completely like this bias about like why are women not more in business studies kind of way. Then out of those 8, 9, everybody lacked that confidence to speak. I mean, I was literally asking, what's your name and any movie that you liked in the past 5 years that you watched kind of thing. And all the boys were like, oh yeah, from Cars to Spider-Man to Godfather to like, and then when it came to girls, like, I can't think about it, and I'm like, but like, you must have watched anything, like, like, what did you watch like last week kind of way, like, and I was there to encourage, and it's still like this blockage of like consciousness, lack of confidence that everybody's going to judge me if I say a word out of my mouth kind of thing. And it really starts, I think, very young age. Like, we have to teach our girls to become brave, ask questions, be confident, and it all starts there. Like, for me, I think the reason that I am here standing is like because I'm brave. Like, nothing phases me. I can go and stand in front of millions of people and say like things. Like, I might be nervous, I might like stop, but like, at least I'm standing there. Like that courage.
Butterflies in the tummy, but you're still saying it.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes it's worth saying that you do have butterflies in your tummy and you feel nervous about what you're about to say. I do every time I speak in public, but it's just getting on with it. Like, even the boys, I would think if you even ask them, do you feel nervous talking? I bet they'll say yes. Yes, they've got butterflies. My son is 7, and he was standing up with the school council elections, and he was so nervous that morning, like in the car, he was almost shaking. And I was like, you'll be all right. And of course, he did it. He just did it. And you're like, girls and boys feel nervous. Girls and boys have butterflies in their tummy. They don't like to talk. They're nervous about what's going to be said about them, and particularly in a very social media conscious world. But be brave. Take a deep breath and go for it.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, there's nothing, everything that I've done in my life, like I've never regretted it. Like every time I've gone and spoken, like, and this is what I say is like, one thing is like in life is like show up. If you are expected somewhere, just show up, because that is like half of the job done, kind of way. And then after that, that is next is like, okay, you might be a room full of crowded people and you might want to go and talk to everyone, kind of thing, meet up, but like choose, like maybe do a little bit of research study, go and choose 3 people, and then just be their best friends, and then ask them to introduce you to their best friend, kind of way. But it's like over the time, like everything that I've done, I've like genuinely not regretted. Mistakes that I've made, I've not regretted it, like, because you will continuously do it. Like even last week, like I keep on like repeating like this. My team keeps on asking me like to change the spelling before you post anything, change the spelling, and I'm like, yeah. And for me, it's like, yeah, it looks right, it reads right, and then they go like, but then I post it, and then they go like, no, but can you see it? There's like this grammatical error. It's like, oh, what, like kind of way.
It'll be all right. I often say that. I'm a bit of an 80-20 girl. I'm like, look, it's 80% all right. Can we just get on with it so that I can move on to the next task on my list? Sometimes though, I must say, Jenny, my business partner, smacks me on the wrist for doing that and tells me to pay more attention to the other 20%.
Yeah. It's, I think, once you're characteristic, like you can be a doer, or you can be like, I think more like a thinker kind of thing as well, and also like more wants to perfect thing. I'm definitely not a perfection, honestly. And done is better than perfect for me.
Yeah. So I take it that would be your bit of advice for anyone thinking about starting a brand like yours would be take a deep breath and get on with it.
Yes, actually, be brave. That's the thing. Like every motto is like, every girl that you see in the street, tell them that you're a brave girl. Like that affirmation of like those adjectives in life is so important, because decades we have been telling girls are beautiful, pretty, and sexy, and this and that. Like change that narrative. Go for like bold word, like you're strong, you're powerful, like, and then and I think that's what we live as well. And then most of the time, those kind of language are often associated with boys, kind of thing. Let's move that. Let's be same to everyone. Like,
let's have less T-shirts that says "Pretty Miss" and the one that says "Raw."
Yes, exactly.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to have to wrap up, Ruby, but it was absolutely brilliant to meet you finally and chat and hear all about the brilliant work you're doing. And please do continue, because I think there are still a lot of barriers when it comes to period shame, period poverty, and we need your voice.
And women in business, right? We need more women in business, more like you, Laura, and I, to come out and champion and be brave. That's all I say.
Be brave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been just lovely to chat to you.
Thank you.